over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want.
Oh, my baby online.
And that's exactly what Trump did.
My girl online.
Encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. Listen to what he said when he went in. We're going to take Kyiv in 5 days.
I'm about to add her to the chat.
That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. Wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I never said that.
For 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine.
No, it's not acceptable. But look, this is a war. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, I'll get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
You have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people, and he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was a part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? You think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are for weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies produce as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel.
I'm going to get to see chickens.
People and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Hamas had killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you put forward a proposal, but so far Hamas has not released.
Oh, my baby didn't join the chat.
Israel
The hell she doing?
its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council, straight through the G7, to the Israelis and Netanyahu, endorsed the plan I put forward. Which is 3 stages. First stage to the hostages or a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. Third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is the only one still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happening? In Israel, we find this the only thing I've denied Israel is 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work for populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We provide Israel all the weapons they need and what they need.
First down.
I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was absolutely killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. So, there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our young people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. Greatly weakened Hamas. Greatly weakened. They should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for what using certain weapons.
What the fuck was that, Watson?
Let's get back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. European nations together have spent $100 billion or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do this.
He glitching the fuck out of me.
$100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them, as far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian. They don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute?
Midnight Sports Solutions. This is the guy who wants to be.
Oh, touchdown, Browns. Left him wide open. Stay in that cover two. Why don't you stay in that tackle two?
Major war in Europe. What happens if the factors happen? Continue to go into NATO. You have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war that he's talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. He has no idea what tells him.
So it's
By the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations. Because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have. But we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about that. I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO.
Man, it better call roughing the passers. Oh, y'all some bitches, man. I ain't touch his ass.
States at that time.
Geno Smith, you little bitch.
Said, no, if you don't pay,
He hit me.
And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But
sorry, I'm going to hit your ass real now.
We're paying everybody's
Piss me off.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2020.
Interception.
After you rallied
big-ass dummy.
that day, some of them stormed the Capitol.
His ass right off.
Constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions, inaction on January 6th, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. To the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard.
That shit off.
And she turned them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor in writing turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a...
Man, they made me
See
stumble.
what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day.
Just slap,
I don't
wow.
know, you can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Oh, he quit.
He encouraged those folks to go to the Capitol Hill.
He quit.
I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours. 3 hours watching, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they've talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he said not forget them for what they've done. You know, and they've been
Man, that dude quit. I was only up 7-0. He quit.
He went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He didn't do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out, and now he says that he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that there could be a blow.
Oh, boy. Now I'm going against fucking, the
There's
49ers.
some people that are so innocent. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that. They saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon. Is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what's going on. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks, turned over statues. The idea that those people are patriots, come on. It's the first debates we had the first time around. I said, will you denounce the Proud Boy? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing to, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attack that cop? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said...
I should have picked that off. I was right there.
Successful, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I had said that, that's
Fuck out of here. Sick your ass.
We're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with his son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said. Well, you want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you talk about is outrageous. It's simply a lie. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any man just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that. No president in our history. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with. And think of all the civil penalties. $20 billion do you want civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, or doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star, while your wife was pregnant. I mean,
Oh man, this debate is funny.
I didn't have sex with a porn star.
He said I did have sex with a porn star.
That was a case that was ranking official at DOJ into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. The case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible.
I said we picked that shit off.
The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam. And it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming in. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know yes. Also, the fact that, did you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? You ever heard any president say that they thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run the first place after my son died in Iraq because of Iraq? I said I wasn't going to run again. Until I saw it happen. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas.
Oh man, he can't stop the run. Good run, Chud.
It's the same anti-Semitic fire they say back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? People, the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones who said, I think they're fine people in those things." What American president would ever say? Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas. They're fine people. This is the guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. Good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of anything.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it's 100% exoneration on that story. He just keeps it. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every anchor has every reason.
Touchdown, Brown.
Debunked it.
That's what your ass get for Tom Butler.
It's fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
It's debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that the forest, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 cabinet officers refused to endorse this. His vice president has endorsed this. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
Oh, interception. Thank you, Purdy. Thank you. Hi, Purdy. Hi, Purdy. Hi, Purdy. Pick 6. And I'm doing all this with the Browns. I'm about 14-3.
And this one's right through to make it a 14-3 ball game. So they'll get another shot on offense following that pick 6. And now the kick is away. And here comes a return from a few steps into the end zone. And he'll be brought down shy of the 20, so the decision to bring it out of the end zone, not a good one.
Every new scandal just cancels out a different scandal until you become president. It's an ancient tactic.
The San Francisco offense ready to start their next drive. Remember, they were just out here a moment ago through the pick.
Oh, interception again. Another pick 6. You garbage. Back-to-back pick 6s with the same person.
Now it's Hopkins to add the extra point. And it's 21-3.
This dude garbage. Rush the king. Yeah, you didn't rush and practice playing Madden. You rush. You suck. You suck. This dude suck. Nope. I got all the momentum. And I ain't doing nothing special on defense. I'm playing cover 4.
Purdy going to lead the 49ers to the line, 1st and 10 at their own 23. After the pick 6, they go right back to the air.
To lose 20% of your weight in a year with Dr.
Thank you. Another interception. He garbage. Yeah, he gonna quit. I'm gonna make his ass quit. He garbage. He garbage. This dude hot garbage. Oh my God, bumping my fucking man. That's the only reason why you got that sack, because you bumping my playing receiver.
Credit him with a sack as he buries him for a loss of 10.
Online auctions.
Throwing on 2nd and long. Watson over the middle. Amari Cooper. It's complete. It's a pickup of 12, and that'll set up a 3rd down.
$20.
If you're going to blitz, likely going to leave you in coverage with this guy, and that is less than ideal.
It is because just about any offense that has an elite receiver, if you blitz and have him in man coverage, you're going to him, even if he has an elite.
This dude garbage. 1st and goal. You garbage, bro.
They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that's it.
He about to quit. Yep, he quit. He pulled the plug. 2 bums back to back.
Our fresh green tees were made to offer a flattering fit for all body types and not break the bank.
Oh yeah, he's garbage. He's gonna.
Fresh
Let me see. Let me back out some this record.
Welcome back to the CNN presidential debate live from Georgia. Let's talk about the challenges you both faced in your first terms, and you.
Oh, he had good ass record, 94-67.
While black unemployment
I beat him.
record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans.
That's true.
What do you say to black voters voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge you made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there are more small black businesses that have started at any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporate.
Oh shit! Now I'm going against the goddamn Ravens.
In addition to that, we find that
I'm going against this nigga named Sardust.
The choice that black families have to make relative to child care is
EA Sports coverage of the National
we get the
Football
first major
League
piece of
brings us to
legislation
Cleveland
passed.
Browns Stadium on the shores of Lake
Black
Erie. Today
child
we've
care
got a good
policy.
one on tap in the AFC North.
He talking shit too. He talking.
On the Cleveland Browns.
And the child care protections and increase the income because the job. So there's more than that.
The veteran Dustin Hopkins has this one teed up, and we are underway here in
You have
Cleveland.
49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't think for me disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided.
Yeah, no inflation hurting us badly, motherfucker. What you gonna do about it?
Get a tax credit to be able to buy their first home, so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where.
Man, fix your raggedy ass internet, dude.
Provided that they got student loans that were ballooning. That if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years, their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited.
He gonna offer me a friendly quid.
For black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation.
Man, his internet shitty. Yeah, I see why he offers friendly quid.
He caused the inflation.
Internet garbage.
It's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled, tripled, and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New Scam and all this money.
Come on, man. What you gonna do? You gonna play or quit?
You're sitting there. The fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 50% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has increased, I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again. They're going to try again if they win. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing anything, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it.
Come on, dude. This shitty ass internet.
By his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat.
Oh, what the fuck is this dude doing?
Stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but
I can't even pick and play. What the fuck wrong with his internet?
The climate crisis.
Let me just go back to what he said about the police. How close the police are to him.
Man, fuck, I'm gonna just take a loss on that.
From every state,
internet fucked up.
Is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name.
He called Biden called black people super
predators. Now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with
now I'm going against the tuna fish.
Incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanic. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs. And it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
30 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate
Hi, Whitney.
and I want absolutely
Hi,
clean air,
Whitney.
and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had
Time for some tuna. Time for some tuna time. You know what time it is, bro. It's time to make that tuna. Okay. He ain't like the fact I call him tuna. So he stopped that pass. Let's see what the tuna got this time. I just did an RPO and got 5 yards. Thank you. Oh, first down.
He did a damn thing. He was out of the Paris case. I immediately joined him. Because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius, and then he wanted to bring me back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change. And he didn't do a damn thing about it.
Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a rip-off of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horrible. We were the only ones who were supposed to invest money. Nobody else was paying into it. It was a disaster. Everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin.
Hi, Whitney.
Because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. Look, I have the biggest heart on the stage, I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. We're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals. They're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security.
Hi, Whitney. Hi, Whitney. Hi, Whitney. I love this play. You should be open. You should be open on this post right here. God damn, Bradley Chubb, you had to sack me like that. Damn, don't you realize your cousin played for this team? Have some respect for your cousin. Damn, you sacked the fuck out of me.
Significant change in elements of constitution. But the idea that it claims
God damn the Joku! I ain't gonna get no time to throw.
It's referring to prescription drugs. One company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for one voluntarily.
Alright.
Make sure every company, pharmaceutical, can buy it. And by the way,
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security,
I'm staying covered for the whole game.
benefits cut in just
in case
years.
he try to throw deep.
One specific step that you're willing to
Nope.
take.
Sorry.
Yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck. Every time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're gonna, I'm proposing that everybody they pay, millionaires pay 1%, 1%. So no one I've not raised the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond.
Hi, Whitney.
Guarantee the program.
Hi, Whitney. Hi, Whitney.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. The biggest thing I'll do is defeat this man because he wants to get rid of Social Security.
Good head. Good head.
Social Security and Medicaid, both times. And that's what, and if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican Caucus that he supports, is in fact going to come as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on these, as I said, we're in a circumstance where 400.
Oh my God! You made me overthrow it.
People not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. What allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation.
I know you in cover 3. I knew he was in cover 3. Pick me the fuck off.
$8,000 for anybody making under.
I knew he was a fucking cover 3.
Get $15,000 towards your tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen. He can look you in the face. So many other things too. We mentioned the laptop.
Oh my God, Tyree, get the fuck out of me. You little bastard.
It's misinformation and disinformation.
He cooked my ass. I should have never played no fucking suppressor.
He's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country.
How the fuck you get that RPO play to work? That should never work for me.
They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. By the way, when I said suckering the losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it, number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, Greg talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world.
The economy's all fucked up. What is he talking about, Biden?
15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony. Those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said if Trump is reelected, we're going to have a recession and inflation is going to increase the vote. By the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted that him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border, that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. Look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He's the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We are the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America.
Fuck!
In the honor capacity.
Cover fucking
We're the
3.
finest military in the history of the world. The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up. Go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians. They've had meetings and they voted who was the worst president in American history, one to best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. You can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care. He did virtually nothing for child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men, of single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. So, President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take your amendment.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you, and they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I grow up and I see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong.
Oh my God!
He's increased the taxes on the I said I've never raised a tax on anybody who makes less than $400,000. I did. His tax was 2% tariffs. Everything coming in the country costs the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the.
I'm down by 14. Fucking Tyreek Hill keep getting over.
He talks about how he has not raised. He's somehow helped the middle class. The middle class has been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. We have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have to, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden. Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of the country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come. But he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country. And he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we're doing very well in addiction. The COVID came along. The 2.5, almost 3 years, like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border where it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog. That's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can see it. We did a lot. And we're getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along.
Oh, my God, it's fucking RPO.
It's not the 18 million people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't.
RPO got 3 touchdowns.
Numbers of.
He keep doing the same fucking RPO.
Coming across our border. The worst thing I've ever seen. At numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had.
Mr. Trump, thank you. President Biden.
Fentanyl and byproducts fentanyl went down a lot. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl. These big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he told us, Republican colleagues said, don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically. He never argued it's not a good bill.
All right, you want to play cover 3?
We need those machines.
Stay in that cover 3.
Machines. We're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl, and Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. Now, President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now struggling to get the treatment they need.
This does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for every time we say a hostage. Now we have a hostage, the Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said, literally, as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago. But Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86. the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
First of all, I spent half my career being criticized as being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger, a lot less competent. I think this.
Come on, Chubb, get in there.
I turned around from the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought off a lot of people. Well, the whole idea of computer chips, we used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and then bring home a profit. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And guess what? Those fabs, they call it, to build these chips, those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them. And there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant...
How can I stop this fucking RPO, man?
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies and those who he calls up to, from Kim Jong-un, we send love letters to, Putin, etc. They don't want us to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them. We made it public. None. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. I go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test, and you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor, and then I took another one, a similar one, and one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 225 pounds, or 225 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap when I was vice president down to 6. Huh?
All you doing is doing this damn stretch play to the outside. That's all you doing. Stretch.
It's the 6 handicap of all.
I was the 8 handicap. 8. I have, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing. Let's not act like children. Let's not act like children.
To a specific concern.
Man, I hit run to the outside.
Will you pledge tonight that once all these challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins? And
I quit on him because he was cheating.
Violence in any form is unacceptable.
Keep doing stretch. RPO with Tyreek Hill. Stretch.
And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol. and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that last
Oh, the
year.
Dolphins again.
The answer is, if the election is fair,
Oh my God, y'all keep giving me these
and I'll tell you
balls.
something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been.
I'd rather go against Dallas than fucking cheating ass
He
Dolphins.
indicted me because I was his opponent.
Fuck that.
I
I
wish he
backed
was a
out.
great president. I would
I don't want
rather
to play
have
the
that.
Dolphins
I
again.
wouldn't be here. I don't mind.
All you're gonna do is
The only reason I'm here
spam
is
throwing
so
the
bad
Tyreek Hill.
that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III. And
The Dolphins again? No. Fuck no.
President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these.
Why they keep doing that shit? I don't want to play the
They
Dolphins.
fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III? Let him follow and win, and let Putin say, "Do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want." There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all. The required response. The idea. I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people. Not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable.
Oh, the Jaguars. Finding something different.
We're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake. And again, if you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border.
I would play the Jaguars than the Dolphins.
President Trump, as I come back to you for
I'll play the damn
the
Dolphins.
question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. Not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started, ever, with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a good position right now with Ukraine and Russia. Because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the perfect 1,000 years old.
God damn.
Because of him and stupid decisions, Russia would have never attacked.
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins, yes or no?
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else is ridiculous. That if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these on a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up by numbers and driven up to a very high level, because the people understand it.
Let's see what your numbers are. This election's over. Let's see. You were winning. You lost the first time. You continued. You appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims that any American state or local. You continue to promote this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There's no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt we will accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accept it again. Can't stand the loss.
Too garbage.
We'll be right back with more CNN presidential debate live from Tokyo.
The Browns get the upper hand as they're on the board first here this afternoon.
Every weekday morning.
That makes the score 7-0.
In 5 minutes or less.
Touchdown,
5 things to keep up with. Streaming weekdays on CNN.com and Max.
Sail through the heart of historic cities, an unforgettable scenery
Fucking ball.
with Vikings. Unpack once and get closer to iconic landmarks, local life, and cultural treasures. Because when you experience Europe on a Viking longship, you'll spend less time getting there and more time being.
Lawrence bringing the Jaguars up
Viking,
first and 10.
exploring the world in comfort.
Ready to go
Giants? Yes, sir. Let's do it. The team's still at it.
What the fuck is he doing? This nigga flickering the ball to me. Thank you, touchdown. He gonna fucking toss the ball to me, and I score a touchdown with cover as a fumble.
And today, I run my
This
own.
dude's stupid.
I'm excited about the future of American innovation, especially with artificial intelligence, where the
What
U.S.
the fuck he doing?
American researchers are making exciting new discoveries, and U.S. companies
I'm
are
on
investing
14
billions
nothing
in AI
already.
solutions that will strengthen small businesses. But foreign competitors like China want to surpass America in AI. Leaders need to protect America's competitive edge.
This dude, he's a
ACM is a
fucking.
serious heart condition
This dude returned the ball, then ran back in the end zone with it. This must be some little kid I'm going against.
I still felt tired on my
Now he
big
punting the ball to
so I
him.
talked to my cardiologist.
Treatment advances in HCM.
This might be an easy
It
win.
was a breakthrough for me.
I'll take the W.
Talk to your cardiologist today and visit HCM.com for more information.
Now it's motherfucking field goal formation defense. Yeah, I ain't, man. What is he doing, man? He about to quit.
He was qualified and everything. ZipRecruiter finds the best candidates for all the jobs. They help us.
He gonna offer me a friendly quit. No, I ain't friendly quitting shit. I want the W. Now he quit.
4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter.
Oh well. Thank you for the win.
First day. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire.
Biggest benefit, honestly, has been with my skin. Skin was more hydrated, more radiant.
This is the best superfood that you could take.
That's all the essential nutrients you need for your skin, your gut, energy, focus, mood, performance.
My hair has gotten so much thicker ever since taking this.
It needs to have a probiotic, a green juice that replaces it all with amazing.
I'm 5 games over 500.
RightArmor.com.
I got this $1,000 camera for only $41 on DealDash. DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20.
I got this KitchenAid.
Oh, I'm gonna get the Commanders.
$56.
Commanders.
For 26 bucks.
And shipping is always free. Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
EA Sports coverage of the National Football League brings us to Cleveland Browns Stadium
Candidates to
on the
deliver their
shores of
closing
Lake
statements
Erie.
as predetermined by a coin toss. We're going to begin with new president Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Taking on the Cleveland Browns.
We've made significant progress.
Joey Sly, the kicker, stands ready, and off we go from Cleveland.
Found himself in a situation
To
where,
run with
number
it,
one,
and a fair catch on the
we have to
kickoff
make sure
will move the ball to the 25.
I ask anyone out there in the audience, or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody will get any $400,000 has any increase in their taxes. Will not. And if I'm reelected, that will be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit. Number one, he's increased inflation because of the pocket.
On first down, they'll run with Joe.
And he found himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more.
No
He
gain on the
takes
game's
the tax
first
rate.
play, and it's second down now.
What I did, was, for example, he wants to get away with the
Now it's
ability
Watson.
of Medicare
Throw left
for
side
the
complete.
ability
That's Cooper.
for
And from the
us to
25,
be able to
he goes
negotiate
to the
drug deals
29,
in
a
front.
gain of 4.
Well, guess what?
Well, that's
We
what you're
got
looking for when you want to throw
we
the
got
ball
it down to
downfield. You
15
want one of
days,
those guys that can play out on the perimeter, can play
instead
out
of
wide,
$14,
can not only get
double
open, but when they're
$2,000
covered,
for
can
each
uncover
series.
themselves
And what
downfield and create
almost
catches.
especially that thing that reduced the debt by $160 billion because the government had to pay the global business.
His tight end there to pick up the
Every
first, Charles.
city,
And you use the proper
all
word there,
that's
dependable.
happening.
And sometimes
And everybody in the room is agreeing. We are going to make sure that challenge has significantly increased credit people have a challenge.
I see what type of defense you want to play. You want to stack the line. He playing a 4-6 defense. 8 man in the box.
We're going to continue to fight inflation.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said we want to reduce. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do all he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to go. Our military doesn't respect him. They look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas and Hezbollah, for no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you. They don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that you took, but he's putting a lot of the regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's ever seen. We've never seen anything like, even from the medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space aid or going to Europe and trying to get when you're critically ill. Now you can get something, sign a document, and you're trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible choice for our soldiers. For our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. That's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
No, I didn't mean to throw it to him.
President Biden, stay with us because we have full analysis.
Oh my God, I just threw a pick six. Come on, I didn't mean to throw it to him.
So just a tremendous play there defensively on this opening drive, not just to make the interception, but to
Let's
take
go,
it
Richard.
home.
And it felt like this was a defense that was on its heels a bit to start this thing off.
Yeah, they pretty much let the other guys march right down the field until that moment.
Yeah, key play there, turned it all around. Big moment.
Condemn everything Biden is talking about, but never really saying what he's going to do to fix it.
So they'll get another shot on offense following
all right, bro.
Trump was witty, he was snappy, basically called him the whiner, and it was like, no, you're the whiner, you're the whiner. But I'm listening to plans. What is the plan? He couldn't even tell you. We're going to fix this. We're going to fix that. No.
Fresh off the pick six, it's Watson.
Biden seemed to have a plan. They're not going to do it, but he had a plan. He pointed out the flaws in everything that Trump was doing. He actually named it, the tariff tax, all of it. That they had to combat the inflation from everything that Trump administration had allegedly done. that they had to go up in inflation and was raising it because Trump never raised it, or him and his buddies.
9 yards, not quite enough, and they'll be left now with 3rd and 1. So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down.
Who's left out of this equation, of this whole discussion that we heard? Minorities.
And he is going to have a Browns first down as they're able to convert by plenty there on 3rd and 1.
The people who are going to determine the vote to see who gets in the office.
That's the key for the quarterback. Get out of your hands in a hurry. And that was a quick little completion. Got the job done.
Oh, shit, Bob.
Who are you safe with? Well, under the Biden leadership, they want you to believe that minorities means gay and anybody else.
They're pressing up on it and forcing the incompletion.
They go with Chubb on 2nd down. And he'll be taken down at the 46-yard line.
That don't necessarily mean black. But according to them, it do.
The Commanders going to use the second of their timeouts.
Trump is alleging an ACT program
in this second quarter. We'll be right back.
That's actively supporting blacks. He wants to contract this thing and put it together.
3 for 4 thus far. They're looking at 3rd in the nose of the football. Throwing there, but this pass is going to wind up incomplete.
He did a fine
Pretty
job
different.
hitting it before the ball arrived, and I've got to tell you, you can often mistime that play because of the angles of approach.
No, Christian, we can't have you in there. You have everybody wearing Celtic jerseys and Clipper jerseys.
Instead, in this case,
it's got to be Kawhi. Who's not Kawhi today? Is this day?
And they turn it over. So certainly an interesting call there to go for it. And Washington will take control of the football in great field position. First carry here for Robinson. And he'll work down inside the 45.
Not really.
Oh, that's a real nice job there by the defensive front. They just engaged and held their ground. But how about the guy who made the play? We often talk about where they take a good first step or not.
It's rather unique, some of the people that they have in place.
Get your feet moving, get your body going.
Oh, come on.
He was able to make the plays.
And he'll get it down this time to the 17.
That should have been picked.
Wind up a gain of 27 on the catch and run.
A lot of times the key is just get him the ball, let him do his thing, and they got it out to him on the left side. And he did exactly that.
Ooh, that should have been picked.
So from the 17 now, here's a 1st and 10. Howell going to audible to something else.
See, that's the key. Social Security benefits.
It's Robinson. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. Hit and drop behind the line by Shelby Harris.
That was well played there defensively.
When you try to privatize Social Security in the union, you're taking away people's benefits and rights to their benefits. Trump has no answer for health care. He didn't have it for 4 years he was in president. 4 years he was in office, he had no care, no health care plan in place. He was still running off Obamacare by talking about Obamacare. No, we got one that's coming, that's going to be, nothing ever came. So you got somebody who's a talker and getting in the office and he's doing something for his people. But while all he's doing is really destabilizing the system. And because he's destabilizing so much, when he leaves, somebody else got to come in and try to fix it. There was no structuring, no anything. So, yeah, when he was there, it was nothing going on yet. But he has started, the wheels were starting to come off. About the time he got in there, it took away so much. Hell, I just don't think he should be him and his buddies behind him are the problem. Trump is a businessman. So if you got the money, he's willing to listen.
going to a game for an offensive line because there's a reason that running backs and quarterbacks.
He don't see the problem with Kim Jong-un.
After a big year,
he seems like a great human being. He got a lot of money. Why are we not talking to him? It's all of these rules. We need to sit down, have a conversation. I'm going to be the first sitting president to sit with the North Korean president. Because he won't deliver.
The Browns drive about to get started. Charles, we'll see what they can do here. Not a ton of time left, but enough certainly to get points out of this drive.
Oh, no, the Democrats came in and started running this whole scam, too. Oh, they're not innocent. Neither one should be president. We should have an empty seat for the president of the United States of America. Neither one should be president. Neither one. So you're trying to pick the lesser of two evils.
So as they talk it over, we step aside. So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10.
I'm just trying to give you a clear picture of both. Because they're both full of it. So when you're listening to it, it's like, okay, we're listening to this debate. And what we're listening to is a modern concern where CNN's concerned. Like, the only question seem to be is, now, if you lose, are you going to accept it? And say you denounce any war that's going to take place or any fighting if you don't get elected. Now, if you don't win, Trump, they're more concerned about Trump's personal instead of the White House and policy. Presidents are not elected, they're selected.